Welcome back to the 12 State Trucker channel here. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. I really do. Hope everybody's family is healthy, they're safe, and everything's good on the home front for you. Hey, just a quick reminder. Yeah, we're supposed to be expecting some more bad weather this coming up weekend. For y'all drivers that don't know. Right now, it's going to be the higher mountain regions of North Carolina. There's supposed to be some more snow with some freezing rain, but they're not quite sure how far it's going to push kind of east or south yet, depending on how fast it comes over those mountains and actually the size of the storm itself, how big it develops, right? They don't know how far that jet stream is going to push south. It's going to determine how much we get towards the central part of North and the western northern part of South Carolina. So you may want to keep an eye on that, okay? That weather channel. You don't want to get yourself caught up in something if you don't have to be. And if you have no other options and you're going to be in it, prepare the best way you can. You know what to do. Just a little info for you. I want to get into a video real quick, okay? I haven't been asked by a subscriber or anything like that, okay, about this. I have been asked over the years by several people less experienced, okay, of some of the things that I've learned the most about being over the road, right? For almost 16 years in the beginning stages of my driving career here. I have been asked, you know, what's some of the most important things that you've learned by being over the road? You know, and I gave different people different pieces of advice, you know, and they thanked me and so on down the line. But I wish I could have given them this one piece of advice. I thought of after the fact, okay? To put things in perspective. Probably, more than likely, the number one piece of advice I would give anybody, either in trucking still, thinking about coming in it, or has been in it for a short period of time and they're at the beginning of their career. Okay? This is for all you. Man, that wall and them bumpers just don't work out sometimes, do they? Somehow or another, there's always something stronger on the other end. I'm going to share a short story with you first, okay? I think back in 2009 or 2010 sometime. I think it might even been 2006 or 2007. The kind of years kind of roll together. You know how it is. Is it within that between 2006 and 2010 period? We'll call it that. I was up in Indiana and the weather was bad. It'd been snowing a few days before, right? And I pulled over for the evening at one of these mom and pop truck stops up there. I forget what road I was on, but it was up in Indiana somewhere. And When I backed into the spot the night, there was already a flatbed over there with some I-beam steel on it, right? He was parked off to the left of me. He'd already been there and gone. So I backed in. Woke up the next morning, hearing somebody trying to crank the truck, right? I hear them going at it about 3 or 4 different times, and about the 4th or 5th try, you know, they finally got it started. And it's an old Peterbilt, it's warming up. You know how those things sound when they're first warming up in the morning after a cold start. You know, it's enough to wake an elephant up. And so I woke up. Got dressed, went in, got my coffee, coming out, getting ready to get my day started, you know. And I asked the guy on the way out, you know, I heard that thing was kind of hard to crank up this morning. He said, yeah. And then got back up in my truck, and I'm sitting there watching him try to get out of that spot. Now, the spot that he pulled into, it was one of those spots that you should have never been in to begin with, right? Now, I kind of realized that when I was looking at it, and I backed up that night, you know, and then prior to talking to him that morning, you know, I was looking, just thinking, man, he's going to have a heck of a time getting out of that one. His truck trailer was all bowed up on one side and everything, you know, pothole heaven spot. So, I'm sitting there drinking my coffee, watching him try to get out of that spot, and it's a no-go. He's doing everything he can do to get out of it, and I'm like, man, he's going to have to call a tow truck now. He's going to have to call a tow truck now. That's a hell of a way to start a morning, right? To get pulled out about 10 foot onto the pavement there, to where you can just get enough traction to get going. Man, that's going to be an expensive, short, costly thing there. And so I got out of my truck, and I'm like, I said, I don't think you're going nowhere there, brother. I don't think you're going nowhere. Now, this guy couldn't have been 20s, late 20s. He said, yeah, he says, this was the only spot when I come in right here last night. I'm like, I said, I guess I got lucky then, right? He goes, yeah. He said, I wish I could have had your spot. He said, but I didn't have no choice, which I understood, right? He goes, can I ask something of you? I'm like, yeah, ask. He says, can you pull me out? I'm like, I ain't supposed to. I said, but I will. I said, let me get my stuff dropped over here, and I'll go over there and, you know, help you out. I said, you do got a chain on you. He goes, why, yeah, I'm a flatbedder. Why wouldn't a flatbedder have a chain on him, right? And I'm like, I was just wondering if you have an extra one. He goes, that don't matter. He says, I'll pull one of these other ones off if I got to, if you'll help me out, right? I'm like, I'll help you out. And so I'll pull him up enough, about 10 or 12 foot there, so he can get some traction and, you know, he can get going. He said, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. The guy's about in damn tears, right? He said, man, he said, it's been a rough couple of days. I appreciate you helping me, you know. And he said, my wife's been sick. My baby was sick last night. He said, I was up with the baby all night because my wife was trying to get her rest. And, you know, but I had no choice but to be up all night. The baby was up and down, you know, and I hadn't been asleep yet. He said, I got to go down the road about an hour to get this load unloaded. He says, I'm glad you pulled me out. He said, because my boss would have been pissed off at me and every dang thing and this and that. And he says, he went to go try to hand me some money, like 50, 60 bucks, whatever it was. And I'm like, hey, I don't want your money. I don't want your money. That's not what this was about. And he was trying to put it in my pocket, you hear me? No, you take it. I'm not gonna take no for an answer kind of thing. And I'm like, young man, I don't need it. I don't need it. I said, if you want to do something for me, I said, give me $2. He said, $2? I said, yeah, you can just buy my coffee here this morning. He goes, I can do that. So I settled for $2, right? The guy wasn't taking no for a dang answer. So, long story short, if I can tell anybody anything of what I learned almost 16 years over the road, sometimes you do not realize the impact you can make on people, and you don't realize what some people may be going through out here, especially your other drivers. And you can make the most dramatic impact no matter what else you do for all the years that you drive. You want to make the most dramatic impact and want to learn the most out of anything? Lend another hand to another driver. Help them out. It is true when other people say we only have each other out here. That's true. Sometimes the most simplest thing can have the most dramatic impact and affect you, right? And it can do the most dramatic impact in a person's life or at that moment in time. That's what I've learned over 16 years of almost being over the road. Yes, it seems like that's a small thing and everybody somehow or another would comprehend and naturally do. But a lot of people don't comprehend that and they don't understand that or the effects that it can have on somebody else. And guess what? I have personally, in the long run also, been on the receiving end of that, right? When I needed it the most, somebody there was there to help me. And I personally believe that it was the choices that I made by helping out others that was given back to me somehow or another. Exactly at the moment that I needed it. You want to do one of the best things in your driving career, and you want to have the most dramatic impact in your driving career and on others at the same time, be that person, be that driver when you see somebody else in need, okay? Now be cautious about it because everybody don't like the help, right? But when you feel it's a safe thing to do, especially you women, okay? Be very cautious. I'm just going to tell it to you like that, right? You have to be on guard a little bit more, I realize that. But only do it if you feel safe doing it, right? That goes out there to you lady drivers, okay? I know most of you can handle your own and you some tough women, right? But still, you should have those road smarts about you, right? Practice those road smarts, right? Common sense and your gut feeling, follow that and you'll never go wrong. but to anybody in general that can help another driver out, okay? You want to know how you're going to learn the most and have the most dramatic impact? Exactly what I said. Be willing to help somebody else when you see they need. Even if they don't need it, go ask them. Say, hey driver, you need some help? And they say no. Well, if you need some help, I'll be right over here. Okay? Some people just don't want to help, want the help. Okay? But I've learned more, like I said, 16, almost being over the road 16 years from just that simple thing. All the other stuff you can learn. But also at the same time, some of the hardest things to do out here is for drivers to help drivers. If you ain't noticed that. The simplest thing is the hardest thing to learn. And it shouldn't be like that. Now, I'm not saying some drivers don't do it, okay? And drivers still don't do it. But I'm just saying, to some of you new drivers out here, and some of you ones that may have forgotten about this, you've been over the road 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, whatever it may be. I'm sure you can relate to what I'm saying here. If you can't, evidently you ain't learned too much. You're going to learn more about yourself and about other people when you just extend a hand a little bit. Especially to the same ladies and gentlemen out here that's doing the same job that you're doing. That's what I've learned most in 16 years over the road. All the other stuff, yeah, I've learned it. But some of the best memories I'm going to have that I actually made a little bit of an impact while being over the road was actually helping somebody out exactly when they needed it. That's what I'll take away from it all, more than anything. Then you know your time out here on this road, it wasn't wasted. And you know you made a little bit of a difference, right? Let me encourage you all to do the same thing when you get the opportunity, okay? But y'all ladies, be cautious, okay? Because I do worry about some of y'all ladies out here. I know you can't handle your own, and some of y'all is just as tough as some guys. I know it. I met some of you. I know a couple of those women in my life too. But you got to be more cautious, right? Hey, and on that note, y'all go pay it forward to somebody else, okay? Pay it forward, and at the right time, it may be given back to you. Okay? Hey, and on that note, y'all continue to stay safe in this bad weather out here. And don't forget about that weather moving down here towards the south again. They're calling, for more freezing rain, and the temperatures are supposed to drop down into the teens over the weekend. So y'all stay kind of up to date on that stuff. Hey, and safe travels to you. Hey, I gotta go get some business done, right? Until my next one, thank y'all for joining me. hit the like, comments, you know, all the good stuff that makes everybody happy. Hey, I appreciate y'all. Have a good one.